The most recent number of Americans filing for unemployment stands at 419,000, up 51,000 from the previous week. Joining us now, New York Times bestselling author of the book Inside Trump's White House, The Real Story of His Presidency, and presidential historian Doug Wead. Now, Doug, there have been a lot of comparisons of Biden to Jimmy Carter, but what Biden's doing now makes what Jimmy Carter did look like peanuts.
That's right. It's fascinating. It's becoming very clear now that Donald Trump deregulated and empowered small business. That's what drove the economy. And the Democrats are empowering the big corporations, the multinational corporations. You notice these shutdowns. McDonald's never shut down. So restaurants that were big monopolies, Costco, Target, they function quite well. And what happens when there's a government stimulus, they go to these lobbies and say, what can we do to create jobs? And the lobbies say, well, you can give us a hiatus on these regulations. So all of a sudden, the big corporations don't have to keep the regulations either. So the regulations designed to squeeze out the small restaurant owner, the small business person, are regulations that even the big companies don't have to keep.
And what President Trump did with cutting regulations, that was even bigger than tax cuts, especially for these small businesses that really had been so strapped by the Obama administration, whether you talk about the Green New Deal, certain policies in there now that Obama was actually doing with his departments.
Absolutely. You've really got it. It's all interwoven, and we're only now unraveling some of it to see. One of your earlier comments was in interviews was a person about education saying that the Biden administration realized they have to train workers to take these new jobs. All of that's related to education. When Eisenhower was president, America was #1 in the world in math, #1 in the world in science. We could fill all these jobs because our young people are educated. So now they want to start a new fund. In addition to education, they want to have a new fund, trillions of dollars to retrain workers that didn't get their education in the first place. It would be funny if it weren't tragic, but it is destroying the economy. It is driving it into socialism, which apparently was the intention all along.
And I want to get your historical perspective about the filibuster, because now Biden, everyone's talking about how Obama says, this is linked to Jim Crow. This is, we should get rid of it because it's racist. And who knows if the Democrats will do that, but they're also talking about reconciliation, pushing things through like amnesty, even voting by mail. Do you see them actually getting away with this because they have socialist and communist tendencies?
Well, the reason that they might get away with it, and the reason we have to be afraid, is the coverage they get from the national media. There are literally no questions asked, no issues raised, no stories pursued. It's, I think I would be bored. I don't know how much they'd have to pay me to sit on some of these very interesting stories that they will not pursue because they're afraid it will hurt their masters. I hate to say it, but the national media have become the whores of the party that's in power right now. And they're not only a part of the drift to socialism, they're accelerating the process.
And they're even the way that they're covering for them in terms of defund the police, when the Democrats say, oh, we never said that. That was the Republicans who said it. Or even voter ID. We've never been against voter ID. That was the Republicans. They're actually stealing Republican talking points now. Biden's doing it, too, even with President Trump. It's the people who count the votes that matter. As a historian, how do we ever get the truth? Is it going to go back to the olden days of storytelling, where it'll be the people passing down what actually happened because the books will be gone?
It could be. It is really breathtaking to see it. Just the other day, too, yesterday, Biden was talking about the big corporations that make all this money. Well, all those big corporations support the Democrat Party. Every one, if you go down the list of the top 100 corporations in America, every one but three of those corporations, their top CEOs and chairmen, biggest donors, all went to the Democratic Party. Yeah, he gets away with saying that. You're right. You've hit on something. I remember when Reagan was president or was running for president, and I was in despair thinking, how can he ever get elected? Because he's got to go through this medium to the people. But the people surprised me. They were smarter than I thought.
The people get it.
That's our hope. That's our hope.
You're right.
The people will get it.
And Doug, thank you for what you've done to really tell the real story of President Trump's presidency. It does continue on, and now the results we're living are just, it's unbelievable how quickly Biden could destroy everything. But we're so glad to see you back. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week. God bless you, and thanks again for what you're doing out there.
Thanks for what you're doing, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you.